Hi, good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to take a look at your packet that we've been working on. It started out with not potato chips, and we did the first two passages. Today I would like you to find the world's first ice cream cone. You can pause the video if you need to. You can take a minute to read the passage by yourself, or you can read along with me. It was 1904. Arnold was at the World's Fair. He was selling ice cream. It was a very hot day. Arnold was glad it was hot. People ate lots of ice cream when it was hot. They ate the cold ice cream to cool down. Lots of people were buying Arnold's ice cream. Arnold was happy. Then something happened. Arnold ran out of paper ice cream dishes. What could Arnold do? He wanted to sell more ice cream, but how could he? He had no more paper dishes. Arnold ran to other people selling ice cream. He hoped they had extra dishes. No one did. What was Arnold going to do? Then Arnold saw a person selling thin waffles. Arnold had an idea. He bought some waffles. He bought a big stack. He twisted the thin waffles into cones. Arnold put a scoop of ice cream in each cone. Arnold went back to selling ice cream cones in the world's first ice cream cones. That's kind of a neat story. That sounds kind of yummy, doesn't it? Have any of you ever had ice cream out of an ice cream cone or a waffle cone? So this is a nonfiction passage talking about the world's first ice cream cone. Here we see Arnold. We're going to flip over to side 2. Now this is a fictional story called Invisible Ink. Okay. Kim spilled some milk. Some of the milk got on her paper. When the paper dried, Kim could not see the milk. Later, Kim showed her dad the paper. "See," said Kim, "my paper looks clean." Kim's dad held the paper up to check. He held it close to a light bulb. The paper did not look clean. Kim and her dad could see where the milk had spilled. This gave Kim an idea. Kim said, "I can make invisible ink." Kim wrote a letter. She wrote the words in pencil. Then Kim wrote a secret message. She wrote the message with milk. She wrote the message between the lines written in pencil. Kim's secret message was hidden. It could not be seen. It could only be seen when the letter was held up to a warm light bulb. Kim told her friend Anne about her invisible ink. Kim's friend Anne said, "We can send each other messages. Anyone can read the message written in pencil. Only you and I can read the invisible message." And here's an example of her secret message. Now, when we turn the paper over, we have our first set of questions. Show what you know. Question 1, what did Arnold run out of? A, cones, B, waffles, C, ice cream, or D, paper dishes? I'm going to use my highlighter, and I'm going to go back into the passage to find out what did Arnold run out of. And you may remember from me reading the passage, but I always like to go back and highlight my answer because then I know I found the answer. He had no more paper dishes. So we're going to highlight paper dishes. Number 2, Kim's secret message could be seen when it was hidden, when it was warmed up, when it cooled down, when it was written in pencil. So let's go back to invisible ink. And I'm going to look at the message. It could only be seen when it was held up to a warm light bulb. And if I'm going too fast, remember you can always stop and pause the video. So a warm light bulb. That tells me that I'm going to pick B, when it was warmed up. Number 3, both stories are about people who made something new, people who went to the World's Fair, people who wrote invisible messages, people who were selling waffles and milk. Another strategy that I often talk to you about is crossing out answers that you know can't be right. So I know I read both passages. Now, did they both make something new? Yes, they did. People who went to the World's Fair, did they both go to the World's Fair? No, only Arnold was there. So I'm going to cross that out. People who wrote invisible messages. Arnold didn't write an invisible message. That was Kim. People who were selling waffles or milk. That was just Arnold. So sometimes a good strategy, remember, is to cross out answers that you know aren't right, so it leaves you with the correct answer. Sometimes you might not be sure between 1 or 2 answers, and that can really help you to decide. From the story, you can tell that ice cream was not served in cones until, let's go back to the World's Fair, the world's first ice cream cone. And it tells us right at the beginning. Let's highlight that. What was the year? If you said 1904, you would be correct. A, 1904. How do you think Kim's feelings changed from when she first spilled her milk till after? Think about when you have a spill. How do you feel at first? So did her feelings go from happy to mad? Do you think at first she was happy and then she got mad? Lucky to mad. Do you think she felt lucky that she spilled her milk and then felt mad? Do you think she felt happy that she spilled milk and then sad? Or do you think she was sad to spill her milk and then lucky to find out that she could make a secret message? Pick the answer that you think explains how did Kim first feel when she spilled her milk and then after. I picked sad to lucky because at first she was sad that she spilled her milk, but it seemed lucky to figure out invisible ink. When we flip onto the back, sometimes these questions are a little more difficult. So we really want to take our time. Our first one at the top says, practice your handwriting. Pick a word from one of the stories to write on the line below. So you can pick any word in both stories. You could pick a word from the world's first ice cream cone or invisible ink. Just one word. You're not writing a sentence. You're picking one word and you're going to write it in your best handwriting. Number 7, where was Arnold selling ice cream cones? Or ice cream, I'm sorry. And you want to look back in the passage. Where was he selling it? And you can go ahead and pause as I'm filling these in. When was he selling it? And you might have 2 answers for this. You might give me the year, or you might give me more of the setting of the story and tell me about the temperature. What did Arnold make that had never been made before? And that was kind of interesting. And I think we talked a little bit as I was reading about some of those yummy treats. Why did Arnold make something new? How did Arnold make something new? And we always know that inventors are making new things. And this one might take a little bit more space than they're giving you. So if you need to write underneath, that's okay. Now remember, if I've gone too fast, you can pause the video. You can stop it at any time, and you can also rewind. Number 8. You read about 3 people in the story Invisible Ink. Write down their names in the same order you read about them in the story. So when I go back, I want to look at Invisible Ink. You might want to reread this. And who were the three people in the story? Okay, in the order that you meet them. 1, 2, and 3. Underline the names of those who will be writing each other in messages. So then you want to go back and draw a line under the two characters that are going to write back and forth. Write one or more sentences that tell what each story is about. The world's first ice cream cone is about. Now, what did we read about in that story? Go back and think, what was the problem in that story? Kind of tells us even in the title. So I'm going to fill that in. And remember, I'm going to end with a period. Invisible Ink is about. What was that about? That's kind of an interesting science experiment. And your answers may be a little bit different than mine. That's okay. Remember, we're going to end with a period. Tea is a drink. Tea was invented when some tea leaves fell into hot water. I know I love my morning tea. How is tea like Arnold's ice cream cone and Kim's invisible ink? So they're really asking you to think here. So I'm going to put how I feel it could kind of happen. So I'm going to hold this up for you to check your answers. Again, number 1 up here at the top, or number 6. You can pick any word from either story. I chose the word ink. Okay? And I'm going to pause this so that you can read. When was Arnold selling ice cream? At the World's Fair. That's where he was. When was he selling it? I put on a hot day, or 1904. What did Arnold make that had never been made before? Waffle cones. Why did Arnold make something new? He ran out of bowls. How did Arnold make something new? He made a cone from a waffle. Our characters were Kim, then Dad, then Anne. But I underlined Kim and Anne because they were the two that were going to write to one another. I put that the world's first ice cream cone is about how Arnold made the first waffle cone. Invisible Ink is about a girl that finds out about how milk can be invisible ink. Tea is a drink. Tea was invented when some tea leaves fell into hot water. How is tea like Arnold's ice cream cones and Kim's invisible ink? And I put that they were both created by accident. Or you might write that they were both created because somebody had a problem, there was an accident, they ran out of something, and they kind of discovered it by mistake, but it turned out to be a good thing. So if you need to check your answers here, go ahead, pause my video, and check what you have. Have a great day.